Hey, welcome back. Oh my goodness, gorgeous, gorgeous evening. There we go. Let me show you some of what's happening here. First of all, look at that sky. Oh, is that not beautiful? That's not the direction I'm painting, unfortunately, tonight. I'm painting that way. Hang on, which is also beautiful. In fact, that's not a bad shot. I wish I could take a still shot of that. Right there. I'm doing a vertical view, of course, of this. And let me zoom in a little bit so you can see the color of that sky. It's not quite it, but anyway, very nice, warm evening. Warm colored evening I'm talking about. Quite comfortable. And here's where my painting is. And I've been doing several things since my last broadcast. That's why I didn't put light opaque highlights, which is what I usually say at the very end. But tonight I'm doing too many different things to call it light opaque highlights. In fact, at the moment, well, that's what I'm doing at the moment. But so I'm using the pencils a little bit. I'm going back and doing dark details a little bit. I'm definitely doing light opaque highlights mostly, but I'm sort of off book. I think that's the term. If you're a chess player, right? I'm not a chess player, but I think that's the term if you are a chess player. I'm off book. That is to say, the plays I'm doing right now are not part of my normal process. But I'm happy with the way it's looking, so I'm going to keep on off book, keep on pioneering. And the next thing I'm going to do, this building right here, which is essentially a blue building because it's glass, and I don't know what kind of glass it is, but whatever kind of glass it is, it reflects mostly blue. So I don't know if it's blue glass or if it's got some kind of iridescence on it, and it's actually a couple different colors of blue. So it's like many other buildings in this day and age, beautiful glass superstructure. So, you may have heard me say this before. Again, I'm sorry about the wind tonight. Can't be helped. I am working so hard on trying to get all my sound issues fixed. I bought a very nice, expensive wireless lapel, or, lavalier mic on the ear, attached to the ear mic. And unfortunately, something in that system talks back to my phone and causes malfunction in the phone itself while the microphone is plugged in. So extremely aggravating, and I spent several hours today in several different high-tech stores trying to get expert help, and so far have not found a solution. So still working on it. So sorry about the wind noise. It proves that I'm outdoors, as if I needed proof. But you may have heard me say this before. One of the breakable laws of painting is any time that you have a much repeated motif in your subject matter. So this is a classic example. The repeated motif is all these lines in glass. So both the panes of glass and the lines between them are both repeated motifs. That is an image that appears over and over and over. Okay, Anytime you have an oft-repeated motif in your subject matter, it is important. In my opinion, it's very important that you render that repetition in a variety of ways. That is, you don't find the one way that works and then just do it. At least not in abstract realism painting. In super realism, sure, you can. Super realism is easy. By the way, and I have dear friends who do realism, and I don't want to say anything. And some of them are very good, make more money than I do, are more famous than I am, and we could say they're better artists. I don't think they are, but anyway, that's all right. We could say that. That do hyper realism. And I've done enough of it. Go to my website, look at my illustrations, blah, 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 blah. I still enjoy occasionally doing realism, but I don't believe it's the highest form of art, and I'll talk about that another time. But I want to tell you that realism is easy, because if you have the skills, which I do, if you have the skills to copy stuff, it's easy. It's because you don't have to think, really, and that's almost insulting, again, to my friends. You do have to think, but yeah, not the way you do with Impressionism. With Impressionistic painting, every stinking stroke requires thought. You can't, at no point can you turn off your brain and say, oh, whew, I got this. Now I just need to, color in this area, just paint this area. Every stroke counts. And so it's very much more mentally, you have to stay alert the whole time. Realism takes time, don't get me wrong, but it's very much, the analogy I use is like doing a jigsaw. I love jigsaw puzzles. I don't know why. I have a screw loose. They're fun to me. I'm pretty good at it, but the point is they're easy. They take a long time, but they're not hard. It's not hard. It's just time consuming. And that's what I think realism is. But Impressionism is not like that. You never get a break. It never lets up. You can never stop thinking. You can never lay off and just paint. Every stroke has to be cogitated. So when I'm talking about this principle up here, that whenever there's an oft-repeated motif in your image, in your subject matter, you have to come up with different ways. So, for instance, the grid pattern on this building up here, I've rendered so far 4 different ways, and there may be more coming. No, 5 different ways. Brush lines, palette knife lines, scratching lines, and then painting in between the lines. So that's 5 different techniques to render these. And you can see that in my painting, the lines aren't perfect. Let me scratch again. The lines are not perfectly regular in my painting, and yet I want to convey to the viewer, to you guys, I want to convey to you that in the real building, of course, they are regular. So I wanted to give the impression, in fact, I want to give the impression of straight lines without painting a single straight line. People come up to me all the time and look at my painting and say, oh, did you do that freehand? I don't know what they mean by that. I guess they mean, did you use a ruler? Because that's what I would call freehand, is ruler. And I say, yeah, I did it all freehand. They say, oh, wow. And I whatever. They say something about straight lines. And I want to say there's not a single straight line in the painting. Not one. Not one. Because human beings can't draw straight lines without a ruler. But I've done a very good job of giving you the impression that these lines are straight, even though they're not. Your brain straightens them out for me. If I make them dance, and if I make them playful enough and happy enough, if I make them, I'll use that terminology, if I make them happy lines, thank you, Barbara, if I make them happy little lines, you will relax and your brain will turn them into straight lines, even if they're not straight. Okay, so that's 6 different techniques for rendering that. That's a good lesson right there. What next? I gotta pick up these brown brushes, change the color. I need to tackle this building right here. More or less, I'm working from the background forward, which is a very traditional approach to painting, of course. I'm not doing it because it's traditional, I just happen to be doing it that way today. it's working fine. So I never make an effort to be on traditional on purpose, anti-traditional. Never avoid being traditional simply to avoid it. I just accidentally am untraditional in a lot of things that I do, not on purpose. I think that's going to be too light. Yep. Got too much paint on these brushes. By the way, I have a litter basket, a bag, plastic grocery bag on the back of my easel. Very, very helpful little device, very simple, that helps me deal with the trash that I produce in the course of doing the painting. Okay, so I need a much darker brown and darker and duller brown than what I was just using a moment ago. This building right here that I'm painting is a very complex building. It has a pattern, but the pattern is very sophisticated, irregular. Like it's 2 1 2 1 1 1 1 2. It's symmetrical, but in a very sophisticated way. I don't know if you know what I mean. 1 column, 2 columns, 1 column, 1 column, 2 columns, 1 column, something like that. I don't know if you follow that. It's symmetrical, but so I rarely even try to. I don't try to slavishly copy it. I just try to give the impression of it. Of course, like all the other buildings around here, I've painted very often, and usually stay quite abstract with this building. Lots of fun passers-by today, this evening, stopping to look at my work. Especially, of course, when I'm in the early stages, my paintings are so messy. People hope, they're hoping it's not my day job. And they try to be nice and say, "Nice painting." You can tell what they really mean is, "I hope this isn't your day job," because they think I'm messing up. That's kind of fun. I have a little devious pleasure in their mild confusion. Okay, I'm going to do something quite different here. I think I'm going to stick my finger in this cotton, dip my finger in the turpenoid, and do some rag painting. Yeah, that worked out quite nicely. Oh, I'm going to come back. I have some dark paint already mixed up. I'll come in here just with a few bits of dark to indicate windows, and then scratch them. That's too messy now. I just went from nice to too messy. So I'm going to have to come back with this lighter color again and just clean it up a little bit. That's all right. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The dance. You want to hear the dance? Want to hear the steps again? The process of painting is a dance between light and dark, large and small, and literal and artsy. That is, some marks are light, some are dark, some marks are large, some are small. Some marks are literal, that is, you're trying to render the object, the thing, and some marks are just pure artistic marks. I don't know, I sometimes call them expressive, but I don't want to be confused like with Impressionism, expressing my emotions. I could give a blankety blank rip about my emotions when I'm painting. I'm not here to tell you about my emotions. I'm here to do a beautiful painting that will knock your socks off. Not to express my inner angst, of which, thank goodness, right now there's not very much angst in my innards. So those are the 3 couplets of the dance: large, small, light, dark, literal, and expressive or artsy. And those three couplets are combined with one triplet, which is opaque, translucent, and transparent. So 3 couplets and 1 triplet, if that helps you any. I just decided that this line, that building should be sharp, I believe. Very easy for a painting to have too many sharp lines, edges in it. Almost impossible for a painting to have too many soft edges in it. It's probably an exaggeration, but it's an exaggeration worth adhering to. Let me say it again. Very easy for a painting to have too many hard edges. Nearly impossible for a painting to have too many soft edges. Okay, well, I've got this brownish stuff, real neutral brown on my brushes. I guess you can come in here.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. And do some highlights in here. I mean, not highlights, they're really midtones. This is definitely a midtone that's on my brushes. Definitely not highlights. It's just a matter of context, isn't it? Those 2 marks right there are this color, but they scream out pretty bright because of the context where they are in the painting. But let's keep it real. This is a mid-tone color, and it's a very neutral tan, really. That's why I feel like I can probably put quite a bit of it down without getting in trouble. Scratch. Look at that. I just broke a brush. Well, good, it scratches better now that it's broken. That's funny. That's only happened to me a couple times before. It has happened a couple times before. That's right. If the brush can't take a good pressure, then that's fine with me. I'll get another one. Okay. Beautiful. I really should pause here. Can I point you down the street? Because I really need to take a picture of this view. I take pictures, and I'm going to take a picture with an iPad, which until recently has been my wife's iPad. Maybe I have inherited it now. I don't know. A low battery. Wow. I'll go charge up that phone in just a minute. And you know what? I'm going to pause you guys because I need to use this camera to take a picture. I'll be back in a minute.